Let's get right into story number one. Let's take a look at Obama's ever-evolving stance on illegal immigration. And here's what you need to remember as we break it down for you. This is not about immigration. It is about power. Now, in case you missed it, at the end of last week, on Friday, Obama decided, go it alone. Illegal immigration and the DREAM Act. I'm just going to do it myself. He suddenly eased the enforcement of the nation's immigration laws, giving as many as 800,000 illegal immigrants who have lived in fear of deportation a shot at staying in this country legally. I wonder if they're going to be able to vote. He said they can stay there as long as they, one, go to college or serve in the military, arrived before the age of 16 or currently younger than 30, lived in the country for at least 5 continuous years, have no criminal record, have graduated from high school. For that, they get a 2-year work permit with no limits on how many times it can be renewed. Well, that sounds like amnesty to me, doesn't it to you? The president says, no, this is not amnesty or anything like that. Watch.
Let's be clear. This is not amnesty. This is not immunity. This is not a path to citizenship. It's not a permanent fix. This is a temporary stopgap measure that lets us focus our resources wisely while giving a degree of relief and hope to talented, driven, patriotic young people. It is the right thing to do.
Got a little testy there. So what exactly does it do? I mean, what's the point of it? Amnesty is definitely not it, but a clear answer Obama doesn't have. He just says it's the right thing to do. Why? Well, it's the right thing to do if you want power. This really doesn't even have anything to do with illegals. This is a true violation of the Constitution. Don't take my word for it. Take a constitutional expert's word for it. President Obama. Here he is back in 2011 speaking at a Univision town hall. Listen carefully.
With respect to the notion that I can just suspend deportations through executive order, that's just not the case because there are laws on the books that Congress has passed. And I know that everybody here at Bell is studying hard, so you know that we've got 3 branches of government. Congress passes the law. The executive branch's job is to enforce and implement those laws. And then the judiciary has to interpret the laws. There are enough laws on the books by Congress that are very clear in terms of how we have to enforce our immigration system, that for me to simply, through executive order, ignore those congressional mandates would not conform with my appropriate role as president.
So what's happened since then? Because that's the president in his own words, strongly denouncing something that he just did, where he says it can't happen. There's too many laws on the books. It wouldn't conform to our system. I mean, that's quite stunning. Does anybody care? Of course, thankfully, the media is all over this one. 24/7 wall-to-wall coverage of Obama's blatant pandering to the Latino vote and the flip-flop here and the violation of the Constitution. No, I'm kidding. They haven't, no. Media, actually, somebody in the media, it was The Nation, came out today and said, this is like the Emancipation Proclamation. God, I think I'm going to have an aneurysm. Congress, of course, stood up and gave it a on the interest-o-meter. And the worst part is that most citizens don't even seem to care. It is a violation of the Constitution, blatant in the president's own words. The administration comes out touting that more and more people are in favor of the president's position. Here's, believe it or not, the poll number that they're now citing. They cite 66% of the American people say immigration is a good thing, up from 59% last year. Now, let me see if I see anything. Do you think that immigration is good or bad for this country today? There seems to be something missing here. One word: illegal. Look, Americans have always been in favor of immigration. We're a melting pot. We're all immigrants. We all came from some other place, unless you're a Native American. That's what we're about. That's what made us strong. We're the safe harbor for the world. Hello? What do you think this thing's all about? I think she's all about immigrants, right? We're not opposed to the president's action because we're anti-Mexican hating racists, or we hate half-white, half-black people like Sam Donaldson thinks. We just want people to come here legally. That's it. Is it too much to ask? Come in through our front door. The only reason this executive order gets any support is because Americans are good, decent, and fair people. We know it wasn't young people's fault that their parents brought them here. But if the case is so clear-cut, if people are so for it, Mr. President, why not just do it the right way? Why don't you come through the front door? Why are you bypassing Congress? Why sneak it through in the middle of the night like an illegal? Because you know it's illegal. We just listened to you make the case. All we want is for you to make the case and use the system that we already have in place. But the president can't do that because he knows this would lose. Based solely on its merits, it would lose. For example, here's just a couple of problems with the executive order. One is the rule that you have to be here 5 continuous years or before you were at the age of 16. Okay, can we just use common sense here? How is an illegal immigrant, undocumented worker supposed to prove their date of entry? They didn't come through a gate and have anything stamped. Wouldn't anybody who made it over the border illegally just say, yep, woof, I've been here since 2007? And why does it stop at the age of 30? Why? Where's your compassion, Mr. President? You see, the goal is not amnesty here. It's pandering for votes. Most importantly, it's just a blatant search and grab of power. This executive order won't work to heal our nation. It's not going to help immigrants. This is about power, turning us into a country like the one in Woodrow Wilson's favorite book, Philip Drew, Administrator, where Congress's power is limited to the president, and he's able to act unilaterally through several administrators, czars. Cass Sunstein. Progressives believe the Constitution is outdated and gets in the way of progress. The president has said those words. Look at Obama's evolution on immigration. Really? Is it legitimate? Is it a legitimate change of heart? First, as we just showed you, he dismissed the notion to even consider executive orders on immigration because he said over and over and over again, it's clearly against our system. But then we heard the president say repeatedly how tempted he is to do things on his own, on immigration, and just about everything else.
So I'll issue an executive order that will allow us to go forward. I know some here wish that I could just bypass Congress and change the law myself. I know there's some folks who wish I could just bypass Congress. I can't. Now, I know some people want me to bypass Congress and change the laws on my own. But believe me, the idea of doing things on my own is very tempting. We can't wait for an increasingly dysfunctional Congress to do its job. Where they won't act, I will. Sometimes when I talk to immigration advocates, they wish I could just bypass Congress and change the law myself. But that's not how democracy works.
I told you at the time when I first heard him say that how disturbing it was, and I said, they're going to bypass Congress. He's setting it up to bypass Congress, and he's just done it. But he's done it more than once. He's done it on 6 or 7 major things, all things that you're not cool with. Reducing drug busts, Defense of Marriage Act, you name it. He's done it. Obama clearly understands the gravity of what he's doing. He knows it's against the Constitution. I don't have to speculate. It's in his words. Now, does this matter to you that the President of the United States is knowingly violating the Constitution? He doesn't view that anymore as a bad thing. He views an impotent Congress and an all-powerful president as progress, not scary like most Americans. I warned Congress that they would be irrelevant. Well, here we are. They voted down the DREAM Act 55-41. Did the vote matter? No. That's why this president needs to be replaced, as does damn near everybody in Congress who has aided and abetted this office from becoming all-powerful. This office cannot become the office of a dictator. There is 3 branches of government. That's why we have to do step 2, activate. It's so important. This is not another left-right election that really doesn't matter. The president is taking us down a path that is the exact opposite of what our founders and our Constitution intended and required. There is no country left under the Constitution at the end of another 4 years. He says it himself. It's not how our system works. So we're not only creating all this extra stuff outside, he's now starting to activate outside framework. It's a fundamental transformation, and we can't afford to sit this one out. That's why I've asked you to go to glennbeck.com and go and activate. Activate. Use the voter registration tool. Find out your like-minded friends and your family and see if they're registered. If they are, great. Get them looking into their circle of friends and their circle of influence. It's an easy way to make sure that people are registered. It's going to take a massive effort by you, but I believe you are up to the task. But it all starts by getting organized, more than we already are. I want you to go to freedomworks.com or the912project.com or a tea party in your local area. If you can, go to Free Pack this July 26th in Dallas and attend the Restoring Freedom event. Now, this event is being held in conjunction with Restoring Love. This event has Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Richard Murdoch. He's the guy who is now the Senate candidate in Indiana. These are names that you need to know, and they are names that of people that are going to be there, and more names to come. Will your name be on that list to be here? You want to get organized. You want to get motivated and start a movement that will ultimately restore America, not just for this election, beyond it. Save it from fundamental transformation. If you do want to do those things, then get started. And you could start here in July. We have some things that are quite amazing coming up that I want you to be a part of. When we come back, the second thing on that list, Egypt and the Muslim Brotherhood. Big victory that could possibly spell, I don't know, trouble for Israel. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? More on that next, and a big announcement for GBTV. Stay tuned.